Take it away, kid.
We're joined by Dr. Barbara Monsees with the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. We're looking at some research that shows a federal mandate that essentially requires insurers to cover women for mammograms runs out next year. What does that mean, and is that really going to happen?
That's correct. Under the Affordable Care Act, they are required to offer services that are recommended by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force. And last time the task force weighed in on it, they suggested that women in their 40s not necessarily get annual mammograms, and that women 50 and up get it every other year. So Congress intervened and temporized. So through the end of 2017, we're okay. But after that, it may revert to what the task force recommended. So we're hoping that there'll be a more permanent fix, and that physicians, organizations, women, and Congress will act on that.
Sounds to me, doctor, like you're saying that this action taken by the government, A, it sounds to me, and you can comment because you're at ground zero of medical care, that the fix is in, and B, that this government mandate is not that good an idea.
Well, I'm not saying that the government has done this. It's the task force that has issued this, not with any plan to withhold care for women, but I think not taking into account that it will have terrible implications for the care of women.
Excuse me just a second. So what you're saying, that this is just a tragic yet amazing coincidence?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I think when the task force was given the job of making the decision, they were not asked to consider the implications for what would happen for women's coverage.
Then why did they make it? I mean, what was the evidence they used? What was their criterion for changing the medical recommendations for mammograms? Because, like you said, in your opinion, this will have tragic consequences. Is it based on something more than cost?
It is. It's based on their opinion, and it's a subjective opinion, that the downside of mammography, that is women getting called back, women getting biopsies, has some significance for women, and therefore that women should balance the benefit, the life-saving benefit of mammography against that. Most women would tell you that they want to maximize the life-saving benefit of mammography, and in order to do that, what women need to do is come at 40 and get screened annually, as long as they are healthy and as long as their lives are in good health, as long as they are in good health. So what's happened here is there's a disconnect between what they've recommended and what is the best advice for women.
Now, research shows, the numbers show that the incidence of breast cancer goes up considerably after age 40. Is that accurate?
Yes. The incidence of breast cancer goes up over a lifetime, and it starts to really rise about 40. In fact, between 40 and 45, it's about twice the rate per year as it is from 35 to 39. And so that's why we say for average risk women that they should begin screening at 40 on an annual basis. But it does not ever go down. The incidence of breast cancer keeps climbing.
But mammographies can cut your risk of dying from breast cancer in better than a half. Is that right?
That's right. It's not been observed in the United States yet, but in fact, the risk of breast cancer death has decreased by almost 40% since the mid-1980s. But in countries where there is more organized screening, in Europe, for example, the death rate has been down by about 50%.
Pardon me, doctor. Back to my original question.
Yes.
The task force that made the recommendation for every 2 years instead of every year. Who was on that task force? Was it doctors? Was it government bean counters? Was it insurance people? Who exactly was behind these recommendations that you say are going to kill women?
Well, I think that's a really important question. And the problem is that the people on the task force are doctors, but none of them are experts in breast cancer. And in fact, They made their decision based on the literature, but not all of the literature.
Pardon me once again. How did they get the job?
They had the job to look at lots of different guidelines, not just breast cancer.
No, what I mean is, though, who appointed them? So the task force went beyond mammograms and women's health alone.
Correct. They cover lots of things every year. They may weigh in on prostate cancer screening. They may weigh in on colorectal cancer screening, things other than cancer screening, other health issues. And so they have to be generalists.
Were women well represented on this panel?
I think women were represented, but people who knew about breast cancer and how to assess the literature and really tease through the detailed information were not. And they did not employ the use of expert consultants. And many of us feel that that would be important, and it was an oversight, and it's not embedded in the process of the task force. We think that should change.
Do you anticipate, or are you hopeful that the federal mandate that requires insurers to cover mammograms will be renewed?
I certainly hope so. We are certainly working to make that happen, and I think women need to have their voices heard, and they should speak to their doctors about it so that their professional organizations can make it clear to government individuals who will be making decisions, such as congressmen, senators, etc.